All right, I think we are live, pretty sure. Let's do our sound check. Always important, make sure we have sound and fury.
What if in the Silver Surfer, instead of a silver surfboard, it was just like another guy? Be like the gold surfboard, but it's just a dude who lays flat and has the other guy ride him around magically.
Okay.
That'd be weird.
Silver Surfer, he's a cool dude.
Can I use you?
For what? Not for that, thanks though.
We're Silver Surfer.
For silver surfing, no. Absolutely not. What are we doing today, Kevin? Coach Kevin, what are we doing?
I don't know how to frame it. It's kind of an ideas thing that I want to do. The idea is, I'll show you. All right, so basic idea. One of my favorite sweeps, right, is from Butterfly. And it's not that fun for Rich, but it's great, right? Anytime a person will give you the opportunity to get your hands locked behind them when you have these butterfly hooks.
Made you look.
Oh, sorry.
It's the art of this misdirection. So wait, go back.
All right, so
go back. Wait. What does it say again?
If I can get a gable grip underneath, I'll explain. Can I do the thing? All right, so if we get a gable grip here, let's have you sit there, right? And I come underneath here. One fun thing to do is to try and stretch a person out and backwards, because it's kind of counterintuitive. Normally we talk about we want to hang off the posture here, right? And we really want to pull down. But in the occasion where we can get to the inside here, right? If I can use this to open up his spine and get him to kind of arch back, it could be really beneficial, right? So the idea was, where does this type of movement take place, or where would doing something like this be helpful? So the first one that I like is kind of in this butterfly or half butterfly here, right? Where we can get in and boom, right? Or from the full butterfly, right? Same thing. This one's a little bit harder because you gotta walk your hands up, but if we can get the head under the chin, right? I can make you look up and kind of break this down. So those were the two of them, and then just using it even when we have this, and I can't make your head look up. One thing that I really want to highlight is my connection and what I'm doing with my legs, right? So if I can, I want to be able to stretch him out, so I can start extending back here and getting his knees further away from his chest, compared to having him here. A lot of people like to try and elevate the hip and kind of pick him up and turn him over. But another option is to try and get him from being kind of steady and back here to overextending. All right, so it's pretty much the same idea here, but we're trying to stretch him out first. Or if we have a grip like this, I can really kind of pull and open up here. I think we can do it here too, right? What do you think? Where else does that kind of thing pop up?
Well, I like the idea of getting your head in the neck, mm-hmm. Right? I think it's a good point to say, we're pulling a lot, we're trying to hold, but that's not always productive.
Yeah.
And it gives you a different option, a different look. I think we did a video a long time ago about snapping people down, right? As you're not shooting on somebody, you're snapping. But if you can't, the idea that, for example, I'm going to snap you down, right? If you keep a good posture, is probably not realistic, because you have such a height advantage over me.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's my whole game, is to try to snap you down, this is never going to happen. Whereas if I could get in here, now it becomes harder for you to snap me down too.
Yeah.
Right? And when we're on the ground, if you're in guard, one of the things that I think this shows up a lot is like head position, and not a lot of people do it, which is the same idea, right? If I keep my head at this sort of separate, right? I'm just kind of I don't pay attention to this space at all, and I allow you to put your head where you want. Then now, yeah, you can do whatever you want, right? So if I'm here, go back, right? If I'm just here and I don't pay any attention to this space where like relative to where our heads are, that allows you to put your head in a good position, or at least keep it out of a bad position, right? As opposed to if we're basically head fighting for position. And so what does that look like? You know, if I'm in here, now like your ability to sweep me is I think a lot harder, and to snap me. Again, move me around, snap me. Right? This is very annoying for somebody to put their head in your neck, because you're dominating that space. It's the same thing for, like, again, if we're standing up and if I can close in, if I'm here, right, you're not going to snap me and you're not going to take me down without moving me around, right? You're going to have to do something to that. So that, you know, in wrestling terms, you know, they talk about defensively, you know, like what you have it's like movement. Your head is your first, not your hands. So your head, your hands, your hips, tricks, right? So if you're Gary Tonin, you watch Gary Tonin, you know, someone gets in on him, he does a Granby roll out of it, like a double. Everyone's like, ooh, you know, but those are the tricks. But I like that idea of filling that space coming up instead of like trying to like hang off. I mean, it's not either or. It's put it together, use both.
You know what it reminds me of? Jeremy Jackson.
Putting the head in the yes.
Do you want to show that one?
You could show it.
I'm not sure.
You can do your best Jeremy Johnson impression of driving your head.
Yeah. So
Jeremy, if you ever watch this, we're not bagging on you. This is a very effective move, and we're celebrating your move. This is good stuff.
I'll see if I can. But yeah, for the inside knee cut pass, right? A lot of the time, in order to dominate this position, right, Jeremy will come in and then stretch the person out with the head here, right? So this allows me to help really flatten them out here, and this is like really hard to stop, right? Like he can push on my head as much as he wants, but like if I really insist, there's not much at his disposal to be able to prevent that from happening to him. So I can use this to kind of lead in and flatten them out, and then make sure my underhook is as deep as I want it to be before he finishes.
He usually does this from more of a deep half guard, not deep half guard, but deeper into the half guard. Right. So if we're here, like this, and he'll push it in. Yeah, because look what happens. If we're here, right, I'm able to build up, I'm able to pull, I'm able to get in everywhere. But what he does is he dominates his space right here. And so so what happens is if I'm curled up here and you're able to get underneath me, it opens me up. I can't stop this, right? Even if I'm pushing with my hands, it's not. So you straighten me out. It's the same idea of what you're saying, right? From being in guard.
Would one not get that knee out first and then try and push forward? Do you think that like having this knee on the floor is going to be problematic? I hate that word.
In terms of
like, would you bring your knee out and then head in if you were to do that, or would you just put your head in and then try to get your knee up into the knee cut?
Putting the head. Let me try with you. Assuming I could get. So you're saying that my knee is on the backside is stuck on the floor, right? And I come in here. Why?
Versus, would you
try to get this knee?
And then start.
Well, here. I feel like you can kind of, you're able to turn me a little bit, right? You're able to push on this knee and kind of create that space sometimes. If we're here and I'm able to get in here, right? So then, you know, move around. I'm not good at it, and he does it mostly with the gi. Because it gives you the handles and able to like really pull and force your head in there. It's an effective, I don't want to say it's nice, it's unpleasant, but it is an exceptionally effective technique or way to force somebody or either to straighten out or to prevent them from curling, right? From kind of,
Occupying inside space.
yeah, I mean, you're just dominating that space. And once the head is in there, you might be able to do some other things, but
Yeah.
you're not going to just like move
Yeah.
an entire person like that. It's just, what are you going to do with your hands to move them?
Stop them. Yeah. I'm trying to think in my head what to like classify this as, and I'm thinking either because there's a concept that I like that it is like just be in the way, right? Like you can't come into that space if I'm already there, right? And that's one of those things that I need to contend with, and I have to worry about is you trying to like scoop underneath me or get me loaded up. So if like the first thing I can do, like when I get into that position, is just like make sure that you can't get underneath me by being there already, then that's a good place to work with. So that would be the concept of.
This is a lot like, the Bernardo Faria half guard passing, like the over-under type of stuff that he does. It's very similar to that.
Really?
I think so.
Why?
Because we're not wearing these, but, do this side. You know, if we're here like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a similar kind of like I'm occupying this space.
Mm-hmm.
I like what he does is he does this stuff, right? And then
But you're more controlling the hips.
yeah, but I'm more in the hips. But when you're here, right, this is controlling the hips. So let's say you have that half guard,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm in this position, right? I'm not on your head, but I'm flat. Maybe it's a lower body version of what you're talking about,
Yeah.
which is dominating from the hip down. So what I'm saying is like you're here, you're controlling, or I guess you're attempting to control this whole body. And my back is straight, right? Like I'm driving down into your midsection while keeping all of this kind of locked up. I think it's a similar idea of the upper body, which I think is what you're focused on.
Yeah.
Right? It just made me think of the same. It's like the same idea.
Can I feel it? So we're talking about.
So you can trap this
here
leg.
versus here. Do you scoop here?
You can. Yeah, that was so much fun.
I feel like I can't. That I don't want to put in as much weight,
Why?
because it's like it's rude. That's a lot of weight. Here, can I try?
Okay.
Right, I'm like running. I feel like I'm just looking at your jaw. If I
Yeah.
do it,
I mean, it's.
how do you feel? Here, do you want to try? Like,
How do I feel about it, like emotionally? Like what is the reaction that I have when someone does when Jeremy does
What do
that
you
to me?
think the potential of? What do you think the potential is for catastrophic damage by doing that to someone?
I think that the potential for catastrophic damage is when you are doing an entry and maybe you go too fast and you wind up headbutting the person. Now you don't see that very often, right? Where someone just like puts their head down, because you can hurt yourself too. Like if I go head first into you, there's no guarantee I don't get smacked in the face as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that serves
Well, I think like
me very well to
when you're
kind of
passing
smash
it,
it.
you're like
Grinding in,
Yeah.
right? It's usually because when we're here, usually you have some form of resistance already. So when I'm here, like you're not just gonna let me like flop down on top of your head. You're going to
do stuff.
You're gonna try, so we're gonna be here, and then I'm gonna try to get in, right, to this position. Yeah. And so I don't wanna get up too high, because then I create all this space for you, you know what I mean? So you gotta stay low.
But are you?
Yeah,
Do you go on this side, or you try to
Well,
like turn?
I
it
don't,
around?
I try to get in here. Because you have to be careful, because you don't wanna get too low, because then you can smash my face into that.
Yeah.
Right, so if you push my head down, right, and then there's an omoplata right here. If I'm going for an underhook, which you probably will be. So, if you have a gi, you'll be in here. See that like frame is not that effective.
It's effective.
Right, you it's harder in real life, in actual, you know, the person is not usually gonna let you do that, certainly not more than once. So, you know, I'm gonna try to like frame a little bit on your shoulder. So you're on my ear now, you're not really pushing on my head.
Sorry. Alright, let's try again. Alright. Go. I'm gonna do the thing.
So I'm gonna let you get in there. Yeah. So I've already avoided all the bad thing. All the really heavy pressure. Yeah, that's good.
There we go. Yeah. Perfect.
Just the way the coach drew it up.
So how do you like, I don't know, are you waiting for them to do anything like, are you waiting for them to try and come in before you make your contact? Or
I don't do this a lot, so I wouldn't say that I am an expert at this. I've just experienced it,
Yeah.
and it is highly annoying, right? I mean, it's effective. It's just because it's annoying because it's so effective, and it is uncomfortable. A person can put a lot of pressure down onto your neck, and that's unpleasant. It's uncomfortable. I don't ever feel like I'm going to get injured, right? When certainly when Jeremy does it, and he's intense when he trains.
Yeah.
I don't feel like he's like I'm like in fear or any fear of injury. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a lot of pressure, but I mean it's like not. I wouldn't even classify that as like the worst type of pressure you can experience.
Yeah. I mean, it's like as long if you comply.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? You can just let them pass, and then it's all over. You know, you pass that. But
yeah.
no, I like that, and I like that kind of filling that space from underneath, you know, from the guard. I think that's really cool. I'm trying to think of other situations where you've got the pass.
One thing
You go from mount?
it's different. From I was thinking back, right? So sometimes, let's say
It's like a bow and arrow.
Yeah, basically. But since we're in nogi, right? What happens for, like, let's say we get a half back, and they're not letting us get this foot in here, right? So what they used to tell us to do was get your seatbelt grip and just drive back and pull.
Oh, you know what this reminds me of? So this weekend, Nick Green had a match, and your favorite grappler.
Yes, thank you.
And he actually got tapped from back mount, just from the hip, from the guy driving down on his hips, on his back, on his lower back.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing. Oh man, letting someone turn themselves over and then you just like drop the hip in. You want to do it?
This guy, I don't want to do. I mean, it's just a.
I'm really good at it. It's one of my favorite things.
I don't want to. I mean, I'll just tap. I don't care. But
we can do that.
what are we doing? We're doing the first one is.
So it's like they're hiding this space. They're not letting you get this leg in here, right? And all you do is make contact and open it up.
Oh yeah, you just drive your hips in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same idea, right? Just opening up the spine. But you were talking about what?
Vicious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that vicious. It's just.
Well, I think this one is where they, if they roll belly down.
Oh yeah.
Like
and then you drive the hips in.
Yeah.
I always feel bad doing this to people.
Why?
Because you just come in. That's the problem.
Well, they shouldn't go belly down. Like, there's no salvation for you there. Like, it's just not worth it. It's too risky.
Yeah, it would be always situational, right? If you have no other way out and you're just getting murdered.
Is it a way out though?
Sometimes if you do it fast enough, with enough conviction, you might get out. As opposed to if you just sit there and let the person pick away at you for 5 minutes, it's going to be a long day either way.
I guess.
I mean, I don't blame. I mean, in Nick's case, I don't blame him for rolling. I mean, he was getting beat, and the guy had his back, and it was bad. I don't know that he tried to roll to get out or not, but he got caught in that position against the guy. When your guy is taller, like a lot taller than you, they can exert a lot of pressure through their hips.
Yes. Yeah. It's one of my favorite things.
So I was gonna say for the mount, I was just thinking, I'm not sure that this will work. I saw, this is an interesting thing to me. You know, with the mount, we're often taught to get underneath the elbows, right? Like, you know, get up high in the mount. But when you're up high like that, or you're trying to get up high, what you're doing is you're creating some counter pressure with the elbows on your legs, right? So if we're here and I mount, right, and you're in a decent position with your elbows, the more I try to like bring, there's a chance that I come over, and then you're gonna frame and you're gonna escape, you're gonna create all that space, right?
Yeah.
So you hope, right? So that's kind of the not the downside, but the risk that I have from trying to like pull your elbows up when you're in a good position, right? If you're in a good solid position like this, and I feel like, you know, in the middle of things, like there's a chance that you're gonna get out from me doing this. The better option is to get here, because now there's no elbow escape, because this space is far. Yeah. Right. So for you to make an elbow, or to make the elbow escape, go. Right.
I can use my hand, but it's weird.
Right. And then so it's very different. I can kind of like really get my hips into
Are
it.
you grapevining, or are you doing the?
I'm just doing this.
What's his name? The guy with the hat.
The guy with the hat.
UFC. Aziz likes him.
Cerrone?
No.
Habib?
Yeah, Habib. He does the thing like this, right, where he really locks down.
He gets in. Yeah. And I'm not grapevining. I kind of am right now. But this is very hard to get out of. Right? When see how you're trying to bring me up?
Yeah.
So if you get down here and you can lock the legs.
Maybe triangling.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like there's no.
I can't engage with the floor with my feet very well.
Right. And then you can start hitting like he does. Right. So this is the opposite. But then I was thinking, like, if we're here, let's say we go back for a sec, and I'm not going to start off that low. I'm here.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing.
Right. And so usually what happens is when we're here, we cross face, and now that kills that side.
Yes.
Right. Like, so if I'm here and you're getting out,
and then
I'll flatten you out. Right. And usually people go for the neck, but you get on the face or the top of the head. I've had that too, where guys come across like that. So that will, but if we're here, go ahead.
That's not.
And then you roll down on it, but then you're giving me
You're still good.
to the backside, right? So I think that's you have to have some distance in order to fit your head underneath, right? I mean, you're a lot taller than I am. Yeah. It would be a lot different if I was training with somebody who was my size, obviously smaller. But I like that idea of like, like in order to get out of here, I have to get on my side, unless I'm just Hulk strong and just throw you off. But if you can put your head underneath me, right? There's no way. I can't. I got nothing.
I do like that cross face.
Cross face is gonna be brutal. Yeah, when they do this and that's a good way to get that elbow up.
I do that a lot.
That's maybe we should do a video at some point about dominating the mount. I think why you're smiling.
I like my mount.
Because especially for no-gi, people don't exploit the mount position. I think they avoid it.
Mount sucks in no-gi.
That's the idea, but I don't think that that's true. I just think it's misunderstood.
I agree. It just, without punching, it's not as valuable, I think, as the other positions. Like, if punching were never a thing, if people just invented punching like a year ago, mount would not get 4 points. Because like the person is too symmetrical, it's too easy for them to kind of make space and turn and get out. Like, people are really strong in mount, right?
Yes.
And it's an easy way to get yourself back into someone's guard, trying to be in the mount.
Well, so I would say to that, if all you want to do is stay in the mount and just hang out,
But why would you want to do that?
well, people do though. That's what happens. People, they get mounted.
But people go to
Why?
mount because
Because
people
with the
tell them
key-
that mount is great.
Well, here's. I was thinking, I have another idea for another video that it reminds me of. But when you have a gi on
Yes.
and you get to the mount,
Chokes.
you have chokes all day, right?
Easy
We all
cross.
turn into we all think we're Hodger
Hodger
Gracie,
Gracie.
and we're all gonna cross choke, right? Or arm lock. Without the gi, people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like if you have a head and arm.
Head and arm sucks in mount. Like it's so hard to get that elbow across because your
But
ankles.
that's one. That's like the key option. Is head and arm.
That's the key option.
What else do you have from mount? You have arm lock.
Basically like the Americana straight arm Kimura setup, or pull it across into S mount, or transition into the monoplata. Like basically any sort of iteration where someone's under the elbows.
Mm-hmm.
But
And see, what I would say is that instead of thinking about the mount that way, if you think of it as a transitional opportunity to get to an even better position.
yes, back mount. The only point to go to mount is to get to back mount.
Okay.
That's fine. But as a finishing place, it's good that.
So that would be the idea of that
I agree.
lesson would be, okay, we don't have a gi on. How do we exploit the position? Like, what is the point? Why are we trying to do this?
Gift wrap.
To get to a gift wrap,
Yeah.
right? To get to the back, to get to a much better control. So the mount is just a way through that. Instead of just trying to cling on to somebody and hold and dominate from the top, which is all, I think, can be difficult,
Yeah.
depending on the situation without the
Yeah,
gi.
mounts I think tricky because your legs are so much more available to the person on bottom compared to inside control where it's like so
Yes.
much farther away.
Your legs are
So-
right there.
So you need to have everything perfect. But if you can get things perfect, like mount's good. Like as far as maintenance goes. But
I think when people
it's boring.
when people think of jiu-jitsu self-defense, mount is one of the things that people imagine that they will be in and will be able to control that person.
I guess.
right?
I mean
It's like if it's I took the back, or they're in my guard, or I have them mounted,
yeah.
right? I mean these are the quintessential.
Because of the punching part. But anyway. Mount is great. I love mount.
I think mount is underloved in no gi.
Yeah. I don't know.
Underappreciated.
I have mixed
Underrated
feelings.
is not
It
the right
depends. It depends. It could just get you into trouble if you're not careful. Like if you mount the wrong
Everything can
person,
get you in trouble.
you're gonna get put back under guard.
Yeah.
You're gonna get choked, or whatever. So I don't know.
But I still stand by the idea of you get into that position and you need to control.
Yeah.
To me, these are all methods of controlling your ability to shrink.
Yeah. And mount
Right?
is
Like
very.
you're saying from the beginning, I can't bend, I can't do that anymore, and I can't. I mean, if I can't do that, then I can't extend my body anymore. So my body is just stuck.
Are we talking
like a
about
pole.
if you're on
Any of these positions where a head or an arm or I don't know, foot is underneath your jaw, then you can't bend at the waist, and your jiu-jitsu becomes a lot less effective.
It is a really good place to smash people. And I like the mount that I play is nice because you get this nice deep this cross face and just smash them up and make sure that their face can only turn into one way. And now, the only way you can escape it is going to be to turn to your left and start there. And it's very predictable. It's easy. But this, really nice.
Anytime you can put your hand right there.
For you on bottom?
No, I mean, I'm saying from a guard. I go back into the guard. right? Like if we're here and you, like we talked about this now, I'll have a guard, I mean, this is still hard. Even if I get that Gordon Ryan thing, it's hard to, I have to get underneath your face.
Oh, you could do it. This is not something that I should do at your guard.
No, but I was saying with your hands, do this.
Oh, here? Are you not gonna armbar me? I feel like this
I can try, but it's not gonna work.
I think this is.
Okay, you try it on me.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I think reaching out for someone's face when you're in.
I don't think you should grab their head.
Risky.
It is risky. But if I do that, see? If I stay here like this, you're gonna. But look how long your hips have to come up, and then it becomes easy. Look, if you can't arm,
you're just gonna make someone mad. This is not something you should do to another person.
This is the other thing. Like, this does not. I'm not injuring you. Like, if I just did this to you, that's gonna make you really mad, isn't it?
Upset. You're setting the tone of what type of role you want this to be, and I'm okay with that.
See, now I can just get out. This is a beautiful thing.
All right. You let me know how that works for you.
Wait, I'm trying to think of this is also a favorite. This is also setting the tone of the role.
Which one?
You ready? Come from here, and you can even do it on the, like we had the mount with the hook, or with the under the armpit hook right here to make the cross face.
Here?
No, the other one. Yes.
Oh, here.
You got to go like that. Yes. See, that sets the tone, doesn't it, Coach Kevin? I always enjoy that when people do that to me.
Like when Ethan pretends like he's punching me in the face for B-roll. One other thing that I was thinking of was poop squeeze.
Don't do a poop squeeze on me.
Oh, it's from half guard. Alright, so coming in under here, getting this locked in, and then I'm gonna get this foot on the inside here. And then what I want to do is I want to find the end of his knee, and I want to extend while pulling on the inside here. And we're just gonna dangle this until we're able to come all the way up and over.
It's a different thing.
I think they're similar. The way I conceptualize them is the same. Where I'm just like, I'm trying to make this crescent, this concave shape for you go into the convex. Right?
That's always good.
Yeah. So I can get here, get this locked in, and then just so much dangling pressure. Right? And I'm not even ready. Like you just make that gable grip and squeeze as hard as you can. It's gonna give you.
You just can't go with rotund training partners, otherwise if you reach for it, it's gonna.
Yeah, if you can't make the gable grip, then you're probably just gonna get yourself into trouble. But
I don't think you've ever tried to do this to me.
really,
Yeah, I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm gonna get my head in. Where's my head?
I'm gonna get my head underneath here.
Go over. Those are super powerful. They're super powerful, and it's not very conventional.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, they always want to make those sumigashi type sweeps, hook sweeps.
Wing sweeps, all that fun stuff.
You know, getting in there and getting a good body lock, or getting your head in the hole, like right in here, super powerful. You just got to be good at closing the distance.
Yeah, I mean I think that's one of the harder parts at first. It takes a lot of confidence to just kind of like try and get in there and see you're extending, but
That's what you have to, like if you're passing, you have to dominate that space.
both people have to dominate that space. Whoever
Well, that's what I'm
dominates
saying.
that
That's what I'm saying.
space-
Who's going to win that space? They're probably going to win the battle.
Which means like you gotta enter it. You gotta go for it. You gotta like put yourself out there and assert that this is my spot.
I think this is one of the big things, like the big mistakes that people make is, let's say they're just doing like a knee cut pass, right? If I just do a knee cut pass and I don't control that space, like all of this, right? I mean now
I'm gonna occupy it.
you're gonna, yeah.
If you let me occupy it, I'm
I
just.
mean, usually what I'm trying to do is I'll sit here like this, and I'll block you off, not with my head. But this might be a position where, like if I get into this position, right, now I own that space.
Yeah.
This guy's trying to get this. battle.
I mean, I think you could play it two ways. Like, know how your partner is going to try and get in there and react and do some sort of counter, or you need to like go in there and do something and make them react to you.
Yeah.
I think people are, at least I used to be, afraid to do stuff because they were going to do something back at you, right? And it's like scary, right? Because if I try and come in here, you're going to Darcy me, or you're going to you're going to smash my head into the floor. You're going to do something. But if I don't do something, you're going to do something else. I'm going to have to deal with that. So I might as well be able to control what you
want to
do
set the
based on-
tempo, right?
Yeah.
You want to be the one who's setting, and ideally, it goes back to the idea. I remember, black belts think like 10 steps ahead. That's what they said. Like, they've already it's like chess, right? Like you do one thing and they've already they know every move. But that's not true.
Yeah.
What it is they do one thing, and they know what you're probably going to react to. And if you don't react, then they're going to win. And then if you react in a predictable manner, maybe a hair late, they're still going to win. They're going to be ahead of you because they've already set the movement in motion, right?
Like,
so,
I want to be reacted to.
Yeah.
Like, I can get away with reacting to purple belts from below, and it's fine. But, in a tournament setting or in an important role, I don't want to be waiting for you to do something. And
you don't want to know. You don't want to wait to see what is in store.
Yeah,
right?
there's too many variables, right? At least if I make you react to something, then I can cut those down.
The other thing is that if you can decide that you're going to do whatever technique, that is your technique, right? Like ideally, you should be trying to do something that you like to do, right? You're putting me into your game, right? If you get to do the first move or take the first move, it shouldn't be some crazy thing that unless you're just messing around. If you're rolling seriously, you should be trying to get to your A game.
Yeah.
And so then once you've established that first thing, and now the person's going to have to react to you, you're still in your game. You should be, right? And now hopefully you guys aren't the two sides of the same coin where your A game leads to his A game or vice versa, because then that's where you have all the
tricky
the scrambles and or the just no movement at all.
Or like two people who really, really want to play guard.
Yeah. No, I think that's good advice, and you should take it.
Just like when you roll with a person, you should do stuff, right? Like even if you don't really know what to do, like if we start rolling, right? We slap hands, like I don't want to just be here, right? Like I'm immediately looking for something that I can grab, right? Trying to just immediately put forward something that he has to react to or he has to address in some way, shape, or form. And if he doesn't, it's going to advance my own agenda, right?
You take the initiative.
Yeah,
right.
And it's not like I'm going to take the initiative, like you're going to do what I say, but I'm going to do something, right? And it's not going to be that big of a deal, but it's going to be something. And I get to decide what pace I want to go. I get to decide where I'm trying to get to, and just like make moves. The more moves you make, the more jiu-jitsu is going to happen, the more you're going to learn. If you're sitting here like just freaking out, trying to, deal with Rich and not doing your own thing, your jiu-jitsu won't progress as fast.
That is true.
I'm just advocating doing stuff.
Jiu-jitsu stuff.
Yeah,
I would ideally.
Any sort of stuff that you do in that time after you slap hands is technically jiu-jitsu.
No.
Like unless you walk up off the mat.
If I just slap hands with you and then I'm like,
yeah, we're doing jiu-jitsu. It's not particularly good.
I don't consider that jiu-jitsu
but
stuff.
It counts.
But,
as long as you're trying to achieve your jiu-jitsu goals, whatever they may be. But yeah.
filling the space with your head.
Like if we're going here, we slap hands, right? Like a thing that Rich could do would be just try and get into the space, right? He doesn't have to wait for me to come in and approach him, right? I'm all the way up here. He knows that occupying the space will be good for him, and he could just scoot in, or he could try and scoot in with his hooks.
Just come in.
Yeah,
Just come in, make some contact, right?
I don't know.
No, I think it's all, whatever position you are, you should be thinking about the space between the two, you know, and who's going to control that space.
Yeah. Controlling the inside space. That should be the title of today's
With your
lesson.
head.
With whatever, but your head is very effective. Mine's big and it's pointy, and I can really get it into places. But you know, like we were discussing using shoulders to drive into that space. You know, or before we've been using like hips, right? Where we like scoot back with our hips and occupy that space. But just like putting something in there, getting in the way, and making sure that the other person can't use it against you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool.
Thanks, Coach Kevin.
You're welcome.
All right, guys.
Hopefully that helped. We'll see.
It probably didn't hurt.